When I say humanize, and when I say humanize, I mean you're creating content so that people can relate to you, trust you. Absolutely. We're all human.
That's true. That's true. Well, thank you, everybody. You might have just gotten a notification on your computer. We are recording today's session. If you're just joining us, we do ask and encourage everyone to feel comfortable and turn on their cameras. We have a really great presentation by Sydney today. And we're also asking everyone to drop your name and what organization you're with in the chat. And also let us know what storytelling means to you, or how would you define it. So I'll go ahead and start to share my screen. We'll go ahead and jump into the presentation in just about 1 minute. So thank you everyone for hanging tight. Okay, I hope this works. Does everyone see my screen, or do you see like the PowerPoint tools and all of your stuff? Does it look okay?
I see it.
Okay, great.
Thank goodness. I see it.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. I just want to welcome everyone and greet everyone and thank everyone for being here with us again. This is our third installment of our El Paso Giving Day workshop series on the topic of mobilizing your marketing best practices, strategies, and tips. Today's focus is really on storytelling, and we have a really phenomenal speaker. Kelly says we can see the presentation slide and then the next slide. Let's see if I can change that very quickly before I get started. I'm so sorry for that technical difficulty. Let's see.
Hey guys, while we're looking at adjusting the way the presentation looks, I just want to share storytelling. Storytelling is the evolution of marketing and public relations. It's the fusion of both concepts. You have marketing, and obviously you put dollars behind your marketing and you expect an outcome. You're trying to get somebody to buy your product, use your services. That's marketing, right? Public relations is you're sharing information, you're trying to garner trust, you're trying to show the community what you're doing. Storytelling is a combination of both. And I've been doing storytelling my entire career, 20 plus years. And I love what I do. And I've told some crazy stories that still have a significant impact. Does it look like the presentation looks okay now?
I think the group said yes, so we'll go ahead and move forward. As I said, welcome everybody. I apologize for the technical difficulty, but Sydney is just a great ambassador, great storyteller, and I'm really, really grateful to be introducing him today. I'll just read a very short bio if I may. Currently, Sydney Alvarez is the creative strategist and storyteller for First Light Federal Credit Union. In this role, he creates compelling and shareable video content across digital initiatives and social media channels. He tells the narrative of the financial industry via brand journalism techniques and does it in a way that is easily understandable, thought-provoking, and personalized for various platforms and audiences. He has a very diverse educational background, earning a Master's of Science degree in Media Management and social strategies from the Parsons the New School in New York City. And he also holds a bachelor's in broadcasting from the University of New Mexico. He is also a recipient of many awards for all of his success and hard work in storytelling. So I'll sort of just hand it over to Sydney and see if he has anything else he'd like to add.
Hey, number one, just thank you so much for taking the time to come here and showing your interest in storytelling. Um, if I want to make this a conversation. So during the presentation, if you have any questions, please chime in. Feel free to unmute yourself and let's talk about what's going on. I do just want to begin by saying, if there is a story or a message that you're working on that you'd like to talk about, um, let's discuss those and let's walk through them at the end of the presentation. Let's see if we can help one another. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah, for those of you that I can see, I can do this, or I can do some snaps, whatever you all think. So we can do a little bit of all that. So I spent the majority of my career in New York City, and I have just been back in El Paso for about 14 months. And there were these different type of roles that were offered to me. There were traditional public relations, traditional marketing, and I didn't fit either one. And then First Light carved out this role, and I couldn't turn it down. And I was so blessed and happy to be back in El Paso. This is how the presentation is going to break down. Number one, why storytelling? Okay. Then we're going to look at the approach. I'm going to show you some examples and a little bit of Q&A. But as I said, in the middle of the presentation or whenever you feel the need, if something sparks something, let's talk about it, okay? How many of y'all have heard of the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Can I see the hands? Can I see the snaps? Yeah? Well, have you ever thought what kind of words these people are using? If a picture is worth 1,000 words, are they saying negative things about you, about your product? Are they on board with your product, with your message, with your narrative? This is why storytelling is so important. It allows you to control your narrative. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can do this really on a shoestring budget, on no budget. I'm really excited to tell you how I tell my stories because everybody can do it. So let's dive into it. All right. So storytelling. I was one of the original on-air talents here in El Paso for KFOX many years ago when dinosaurs were roaming the streets, right? So I have a broadcast journalism background. I do what's called brand journalism. What that means is I take the concepts of reporting from a journalistic perspective and ethics, and I apply it to our brand. I'm not giving you our brand's opinion. I'm giving you the brand facts. Also, when you take control of your narrative, you become the go-to source for your industry news. So for example, I'm now in the financial industry. So since I've been back, many of the local journalists, many of the local reporters come to me now when they want a local perspective on finance, when they want a local perspective on how inflation is impacting El Paso, or how people can save better. Because I'm putting out this content on behalf of First Light, it's working in a way that these local journalists are turning to me as their local news source. You can also do this with your respective industries. By putting out this content, you become the experts. All right, so I want you all to do this. I want you to insert your brand, your company, your organization in that sentence. Everything is a First Light Federal Credit Union story. What other brands are out there? Somebody fill in the brand for me. Somebody want to unmute themselves?
El Paso Neighborhood Coalition story.
Absolutely. Everything is an El Paso Coalition neighborhood story. What's another one? Somebody else want to chime in?
Yeah, everything is an Arc of El Paso story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about one more? One last one.
Victoria wrote in the chat, everything is a Kelly story.
Oh, I got to get used to this chat feature.
No worries, I'll be helping you out. Alejandro also wrote, everything is an El Paso Coalition for the Homeless story. That one's a mouthful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're asking how, right? Now, perhaps not everything in pop culture should be tied with your brand, but for the most part, everything can. Everything that you see on your screen, I've tied it back to the First Light brand. Yes, even the Tinder swindler. Yes, I tied him back to our brand. We have a podcast, and part of the podcast, one of the podcasts that we did was how not to get swindled by the Tinder swindler, because this guy was taking people's money. So from a financial institution, we wanted to show people how to be more savvy and protective with their money. So I tied it into pop culture. This was the #1 show being seen on Netflix. So it was a huge success for First Light, and it was very positive. Obviously, there's some logos up here that are very easy tie-ins, like Fort Bliss, Viva El Paso, the Humane Society. Now I gotta mention Pride. So Pride, for many of us, is something that we're jumping on board, and it makes absolutely sense with diversity, equity, and inclusion. But sometimes organizations are a little scared to jump into something that they may see as controversial. Of course, I come from a very how can I say this, traditional industry, the finance industry. And it took some conversations to say, hey, we need to showcase our community that we support Pride, and we developed some phenomenal videos that, quite honestly, ended up being our most watched and most highly engaged with videos that First Light has ever done. So the point being is, if you find that pop cultural reference, you can make some sort of connection. Does anyone have any questions on that? Do you all agree, disagree? On board, snaps, waves, yeah? Cool, cool, cool. All right, so what's the strategy? Humanizing our brand, right? So first I have to give my props to, I grew up in New Orleans and El Paso. And so for those of you who don't know Interview with a Vampire, that's Brad Pitt. I'm flesh and blood, but not human. And the goal here is to humanize our brands, okay? Now here's some takeaways. Write this down, screenshot this, right? Here are 3 easy ways to humanize your brand. #1, you celebrate your community. Okay, community can be El Paso, community can be your neighborhood, community can be the LGBTQ community. We're Hispanic Heritage Month, so community could be Hispanic heritage, right? You celebrate your community. 2, you celebrate your programs, right? In our case, at First Light, I call it you celebrate your employees. Who is your #1 advocate in your organization? Who's your #1 PR tool? It's your employees. It's the people that you work for. Word of mouth is 100 times better than any advertising campaign you can put out there. So celebrate your programs, celebrate your employees who are your industry experts, right? And then the last one, celebrate your partnerships. So at First Light, we have a slew of community partnerships. This afternoon, we're going to be heading to the El Pasoans Fighting Food Bank. We're going to be doing some volunteer work over there. I'm going to produce a story. And the story is not about First Light having a bunch of employees over there volunteering. The story is going to be about a couple of volunteers. They just happen to work for First Light. And why are they volunteering? What are they trying to do? What motivated them to go out there and do this work? That's the story. You're going to hear me later on in the presentation, you're going to hear me say, I tell stories about people, not brands. But if you do it right, these people, these folks, these experts, these employees that you interview are going to talk about your brand, therefore eliminating you having to speak about your brand. Any questions? All right, so how do we humanize our brand? You can screenshot this as well or write this down. Okay. 3 ways that humanize your brand. Okay. The first way is you focus on people, right? People are at the heart of every story, not the organization. No matter how much, our CEO goes on top of Trans Mountain or the Franklin Mountains and beats his chest and says, first light is number 1, though that may make some news though. But if you go out there beating your chest saying first light is number 1, it's not as significant as interviewing the members that we're helping, the people that we're helping achieve their dreams and change lives. 2, remember how I said you want to make an emotional connection, right? Stories are not just about the facts. They're also about feelings. Okay. When I was a journalist, I'll use the K-Pox as an example. It was so boring for me to run out and do a story on, say, a car accident or a murder. Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand and sympathize. However, it's just the facts. All right. Presenting a story, a hard news story, is very easy to do. It's just the facts. That's all you got to do is present the facts. Creating something that is entertaining, that's different. You have to hold people's attention. I always found that more exciting and more challenging to do. Third thing, add drama, right? It's all about the drama. You want to provoke thought. You want to entertain, infotainment. Now, I'm going to tell you what I mean by adding drama. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right. So how do we do this, right? How do we humanize our brand? First thing is you need some skills, right? Whether it's editing skills, shooting skills, interviewing skills, quite honestly, just asking questions and being curious. That's the first thing you need. 2, some imagination, some creativity, facts and fun, adding a music bed underneath your video to add, a little bit more emotion, and identifying opportunities. Remember at the very beginning when I asked you to insert your organization's name into that sentence, if it's a story, you have to look for those opportunities. Sometimes they're not very obvious, and sometimes they're right under your nose. Last thing is you need executive buy-in. How many of y'all have executives that think that when it comes to marketing, you have to spend money? It's an advertisement. Anybody? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. Okay. It's about storytelling and taking control of your narrative. You can have, let me rephrase this. How many of us have like endless dollars of advertising? We don't, right? Not at all. Our dollars, I'm sorry, they're just not going there. Traditional media, it costs money. If you want a billboard, it costs money. You want to put a ad on TV, it costs a lot of money. Even if you want to boost some videos and do some digital campaigns on social media, it costs money. What I advocate for is organic. That's where your storytelling comes in. You're taking control of your narrative. And for the most part, these organic videos are outperforming the paid media because it's coming from the heart. People understand it and they want to share it. Really fast before I go into that, because it was a lot of information that I just zipped through. Does anybody have any questions or want to dive into anything that I may have mentioned?
Yeah, you mentioned like music subscriptions, to underlay in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like recommended sites for us to look at or subscription services we could look at?
Yes, Motion Array. I think they charge $29 for the year, and it's well worth it. That's what I use at First Light. I actually, it's a personal account that I have. And I've just always had it because I do a bunch of storytelling, with my family on the side. So I need some music subscription. It's fantastic. And it gives you a huge array of different type of audio beds that you may want, from, 10-second jingles and intros to 30 seconds, 60 seconds, all the way up to like maybe 4 or 5 minutes of songs.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes. And don't ever underestimate the power of music. I mean, I want to say every single one of my stories has a music bed on there, because it really takes that emotion to the next level. Great question. Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone want to know how to walk into their executive's office and say, we need to do stories? No? All right, we'll go on. Next slide. All right, so, well, take that off, go back. All right, so I'm going to put you out of work, okay? And if you guys saw, some of the verbiage that just popped up, just kind of get it out of your head. I'm going to put you guys to work, all right? I want to make you all storytellers, and I'm giving you an assignment. Okay, your assignment is to go cover a surprise birthday party. Okay, that is your assignment. I'm giving you a phone, a microphone, and you're going to go cover that story. What are some of the important elements? What are the must elements you have to cover to do this story? It's a surprise birthday party. What should you be shooting? Who should you be interviewing? Who wants to share?
Family and friends.
Family and friends. Yes, for sure. Would you interview all family members? Would you interview all friends? Can you be a little bit more specific?
Family.
Organizer.
The
Sorry?
immediate family.
Immediate family, yes, absolutely. What about video? It's a surprise birthday party. What is the video you must get? What is the most essential part of the video?
The surprise.
Yeah, the surprise. So absolutely, you're going to interview family and friends. You're going to get the surprise, which is the most important element of your story. What else should you get video of for your story?
I would get a reaction of the person that got surprised and see, did they expect this, or what were their thoughts?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. What else would you get video of? Think of your personal birthday parties, and you're running around capturing pictures, capturing video. What else would you get? Because this is your story.
A happy birthday song.
The happy birthday song for sure. Absolutely. What else? Anybody have like piñatas there? Are you gonna get somebody swinging the piñata?
I would say presents or like piñata, and then just overall like B-roll of the family having a good time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's go back to the interviews, okay? Because I want to make you think about this a little bit. Most of my videos are under 60 seconds, okay? If you can't tell your story under 60 seconds, there's a problem, all right? Unfortunately, our public has a very short attention span. So if you're going to tell a story in 60 seconds, and we're going to interview family and friends, how many interviews are you going to do? Let's try to focus. Who are you going to interview? Who's the main person you should probably interview?
Parents,
A birthday
the birthday
person.
kid.
Birthday
Yes,
person.
the birthday person. The birthday person is the must. You don't have the birthday person, you don't have a story. Everyone else is, what do they say? Icing on the cake. The most important element of your story is the surprise and the birthday person themselves. So that's me and my daughter. We had a surprise birthday party. She loves Wolverine, so I dressed up as Wolverine for her. But go ahead and throw up the rest. So yeah, so you guys pretty much hit it all. You know, you interview the person having the birthday, you interview some guests, blowing out the candles, cutting the cake, people having fun. And this very simple exercise is just to help you all formulate when you have an event. Say you have a ribbon cutting. What are the elements that you're going to get? The cutting of the ribbon, maybe an interview with the highest ranking person there, maybe another interview with a special invited guest, and B-roll of everybody. Can we go back to the slide before? Because there you go, yes, sorry. Okay, I wanted to tell you, everything that I shoot, everything that I've done for like the last 18 years, I've done with my cell phone.
Wow.
No film crew, no camera crew, no sound person, no light person. Everything is done with my iPhone and a microphone. I have covered hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, explosions, everything with my iPhone. Please do not get swindled into thinking you need to hire a full-blown camera crew to produce a story. For the most part, we all have some sort of mobile device. It can be done with your phone. And I really want to stress this. And if one day, because this is First Light's way of helping out, if you have a phone and you want to reach out to me at First Light, I'm more than happy to show you how to do some basics shooting on this. Okay, you guys? Because I want all of y'all to be very successful with your respective organizations. All right, let's move on. We'll skip the birthday party. All right, editing software, okay? There's a whole bunch of different editing software. From the professional side, you have Adobe Premiere and Final Cut over there on your left. On your mobile devices, you know, you have iMovie, you have Splice, and you have InShot, and you also have Enlight Video. But I really want you all to focus on one thing at the bottom right-hand corner. If you don't have any video editing expertise, if you're scared of video editing, if it just, you know, you're uncomfortable with it, social media has created a platform that allows you to edit, narrate, and put text all in one. It's called TikTok. Okay, play with it, have fun with it. This platform allows you to tell your stories without having to maybe, you know, do all the bells and whistles that maybe Final Cut and Adobe Premiere allow you to do. Okay, so just play with TikTok. How many, I know everybody here is familiar with TikTok. How many of you all are using it for your respective organizations? Can I just get some waves or some highs? So the people that I can see here. Okay.
She loves TikTok.
And she loves it. Yeah. You know, do you all know that TikTok last year was the #1 website in the entire world? It beat Google. It beat YouTube. So if you're not on this platform, you're missing a whole generation. Get on that platform. All right, let's move on. All right, so social media, okay? Social media pretty much disrupted everything. You know, so you create these stories, where are you putting them? And social media has allowed brands to not only take control of their narrative, but put it out there themselves. In other words, we no longer have to rely on local news, on local El Paso Time ads, though I love them all. We don't have to rely on any of them to put out our message. Quite honestly, we can bypass them. Quite honestly, we can probably be more effective by bypassing traditional media outlets. Social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn have all made it possible for your brands to share your message directly to your consumers. Now, question here, we can go back really fast. You need to find out where your consumers are, right? For First Light, our consumers are on Facebook predominantly, a little bit on Instagram. And so what we've done is we've also created a channel on TikTok because we want that Gen Z. They're eventually going to age. We want to start introducing them to financial literacy, financial decisions. So our messaging is very, very strong on Facebook, Instagram. However, we want to make sure we have a presence on these other platforms because eventually they will be coming to us and they will be taking note of our messaging. We also have a very powerful presence on LinkedIn because it's the professional platform, of course, and we want to showcase First Light as a thought leader and organization. So we do very well on that platform as well. So what I ask you, or what I turn to you, is find out where your consumer is, find out what platforms they are on, and make sure you're utilizing them. Any questions on that? No? Okay. So how do you measure success, right? So you're doing all these stories, you're putting out all this content. How do you know if it's working, right? Well, number one, internally, morale, engagement, donors, you're going to start seeing that. Are the employees engaged? Is your community engaged? Are you getting more donors, and is the message getting out there? Social engagement. Okay, so I just want to share something with you all. The most important thing on social media is engagement. Okay. Impressions is an inflated tool. Impressions is when you're looking at your phone on your feed and something is just there as you're scrolling through. That's an impression. It doesn't mean that you actually looked at it. Okay, you just scrolled by it. Engagement is when you like it. Engagement is when you comment on it. Engagement is when you share it. That's the most important thing that you can strive for on social media. All right, going back to measurements of success. Sales, donations again, feedback. That's how you know that you're doing well. And last, coupled with social media, as you're putting your content out, you're being seen as the expert in that industry, or in the go-to place for said topic, then you'll get automatic media coverage and media will notice you. So a lot of times when we put out content, I have media peers that call me and say, hey, I didn't know First Light did that. Is that something that we can talk about? And so instead of having to do traditional, press releases, it's also working that angle as well. Does anyone have any questions on that so far? So this is public information. I'm not sharing anything that cannot be shared. So how does storytelling work? Show me the numbers, show me the data. Well, I'm just looking at our own industry, the credit union industry. You see that graphic that I put up there? This is from Facebook. Okay, this is simple Facebook analytics, not doing anything special. I just type it in, I go into my insights and it pops up. This is showing me our local competitors, and it's showing me the engagement, right? It ranks it by the number of followers that you have. There's a company that's national. It's called, a credit union. It's called Mountain America Credit Union. They're national. They're not here, but I wanted to kind of compare ourselves to bigger credit union. So they have about 323,000 followers, followed by GCU. They have 37,000 followers. Then Raise 10,000 followers, and then there's First Light. We have 7,000 followers. Now look at the far right-hand side. Okay, look at our engagement rate compared to our local competitors. GCU put out 13 pieces of content. We put out 7 pieces of content. But look at our engagement. Our engagement is blowing them out of the water. And I'm not going to brag, but I am going to brag. For the past 9 months, consecutively, week after week, our engagement rate has surpassed all local competition, all local competition hands down. And the reason this is happening is because of the content that we're putting out. We're putting stories out about people. So if I leave you with anything, the storytelling work, just look at the numbers and make sure that you're telling stories about people. Let's go on. Okay, I want to show a couple of examples. Okay, it doesn't matter which one. So I love telling stories about our employees. And the reason I love doing this is because not only is word of mouth the best public relations, but the employees, they really showcase the culture of the organization. So I just want to show you this one story. Go ahead and hit play. I can't hear anything, so if anybody else can hear.
You know, I did tell my son that I love him. You'll hear it no matter what, it was kind of difficult. He just recently told me. Honestly, I feel so much better now that I'm out and stuff. It's keeping it in is very painful. And to be honest, it hurts when other people do that. No matter what, I accept my son and I love him, no matter, you know, who he loves. I wanted to do this to support my son. I'm proud to work at a place of employment that supports diversity and they accept people of all backgrounds. Thank you, First Life, for including my son in the pictures, and we just wanted to support Life.
So it was a little hard to hear, at least it was on my end, but I'll kind of give you the quick rundown on it. So the video that I just showed you is our #1 video thus far this year. It's garnered the most engagement. I think it has like a 70% engagement rate. What the story was we have an employee named Claudia, and Pride Month was coming up in June. And we said we wanted to interview some employees. And she said, I want to do an interview with you, Sydney, because I want to show my son that I support him. So her son had just come out to her. It was very emotional. You missed a lot of the emotion in the interview. And she just wanted to do this interview to show the support that she had for her son. People resonate with that. You know, whether you support the LGBTQ community, whether it is that you are experiencing it yourself, people related to a mother supporting her son, and people loved that video. And it really puts First Light in a position where it shows that it supports its employees and it supports its community. Let's look at another one if we can. So this video, it's actually one of my longer videos. I think it's maybe 1 minute and 20 seconds, but we'll go ahead and play that one.
It's National Cancer Survivors Day. I was diagnosed with uterine cancer, and it was just a lot to bear. It was kind of like, okay, so I have cancer, I won't have children, we're going to treat it first with this hormonal therapy. You could try to have children, and then after you have a child, then you would have to do a hysterectomy. Almost 5 years cancer-free. After treatment, we were able to have a baby. We had it. So Noah's 22 months now. He's a toddler with a lot of energy and big spirit. He goes to my dog ears all the time, and he's just really, you know, he's brought a lot of life into the house. There was a day in December that we felt something on his abdomen, just a little bit. It seemed off again, and it seemed a little bit harder than like the rest of his pelvic area. Treatment was right away. He's going to have to go get surgery to remove it. The doctor came in and he said that it had metastasized to his lungs. The surgery was really successful. He's doing really well. He's continuing his chemotherapy. He's doing chemotherapy at home. He's done fabulous. He's rambunctious, and he's back to his old self. Some words of encouragement that I have for people who are dealing with cancer would just keep your mind strong, keep positive, keep hope, and just keep going.
I apologize for technology, right? We gotta love it and hate it at the same time. I think the takeaway that you want to see here is she never mentioned anything about First Light. She never talked about First Light. The only reason you knew it was First Light was because we had the little First Light logo at the bottom and at the very end. But this story was about her survival, the challenges that she had with her son and overcoming them. Very powerful. And so I'll share another thing with you. It was another pop culture tie-in. It was Cancer Survivors Week, Cancer Survivors Day. I don't remember exactly what it was, but align yourself with these pop culture tie-ins. What is happening in the community? What is happening nationally? What is trending on social media? Can your brand tie itself to that trend? So that's what I'm always thinking. I actually, when I wake up in the morning, I see what's trending. And then can I do something on the First Light platforms that we can align ourselves with? Doesn't happen all the time, but it's just a good habit to have. Good. All right, so when producing stories, we also look for something that is very unique, something very unusual. So here's a story about the Scouts of America here in El Paso and a young lady who became the very first Eagle Scout here in West Texas. And here's her story.
I'm sorry for the technical difficulty. The audio is not playing on my end either, so I'm gonna try that just once more.
This all-female scout troop is celebrating this young lady, Valerie Doplank. She just achieved her highest honor, the first Eagle Scout award recipient in the El Paso Las Cruces area for the Boy Scouts of America Yucca Council.
It's a great honor to be the first female Eagle Scout in the council. Only about 5% of scouts get to the rank of Eagle, so I'm proud to be part of that 5%.
Scouting runs in Valerie's family. Her mother is her scoutmaster.
She has worked really hard and has worked through college to do and get this award.
Valerie had to earn at least 21 merit badges and lead a major service project.
There are people there to help you learn the skills.
Scouting leaders are encouraged that Valerie's achievement will inspire other girls to join the Scouts.
It's saying that women can do exactly the same thing with men. And this breaks it all open.
So I want to highlight something in this particular video. This particular video, we would call it, or story, we would call it a full-blown package. What that means is that there was narration in the video. You heard my voice in the video. Versus the prior videos that you saw earlier, it came direct. There was no narration. It was a nap pack, as they call it, because all you heard was the person being interviewed. It was their perspective. So on this one with the Scout, you heard my voice and it had more of a brand journalism type of feel. Now I want to share something very quickly with this particular story. So obviously it had nothing to do with First Light. Again, you just see the logo First Light throughout the video at the bottom and you see it at the very end, but they don't talk about First Light. So I am subliminally letting you know that First Light is supporting our community. And a really funny fact about this particular story, last year in the summer, the Chihuahuas partnered with Scouts of America, and it was a GECU sponsored night. Well, guess what video they decided to play? Come on, that's funny, right? That's funny. Yes, do I see some hands waving? That was funny. All right, you guys, next one. All right. This is my last unique or unusual story. So who doesn't love bashing houses? Who doesn't love breaking things, right? So at first light, our marketing director, marketing department told me, we're going to put together a commercial for home improvement loans, a commercial, okay? So I said, you know what? This would make a great story, a great organic story. And this is it. So check it out.
Bust it and break it, all for the sake of home improvement. Well, location for a First Light Federal Credit Union commercial shoot with professional wrestler. See that order.
The first time for me actually doing something like this, where I can start something and I get, credit for it.
A study by the U.S. Housing and Urban Development says Americans spent $522 million last year to make their home sweet home even sweeter. Your DIY projects can vary from complete overhauls to simple upgrades. But there's one thing that's certain, a little bit of financial help and education can go a long way.
Our goal for this 2-week commercial is to have that connection with people about home improvement.
And as for the commercial shoot and see that Oro, he's wearing a special mask. That's like,
I always feel my hobby in my heart, and that's part of who I am.
So we took what was going to be a paid campaign and actually complemented it on social media, because not only did we have an influencer like Cinta de Oro, who was automatically going to be in the commercial, which you would have never heard him if we didn't do the story. So now we have an interview with Cinta de Oro, and we're pushing that out organically, tagging him. And so obviously we're getting more traction. So simultaneously, we have this organic video, and then we have the paid component as well. Let's go on. So we also show, I also embrace stories, reels. They're so much fun. Obviously, we all know that stories are only for 24 seconds. Are only for 24 hours. Stories do allow you to put links on there. So it's really important if you want to have people subscribe or go to a particular piece of information that you're trying to showcase. So let's go ahead and see this example.
Yeah, and I'll just mention this was a video that Sydney did not work on, but he did allow me to share, and it's just a really good example of using these dimensions and also using Instagram. And it was just a promotional piece for El Paso Giving. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Hi, I'm Andy Info with the El Paso Chihuahuas. Join me in the Paso del Norte Community Foundation in supporting local nonprofits during the 7th annual El Paso Giving on Thursday, October 20th. All you have to do is donate a minimum of $10 to any participating nonprofit at elpasogivingday.org and tell your friends and family all about El Paso's largest day of charitable giving. Make sure you act, give, and change.
Very cool. Okay, next slide.
Hi.
So what I really want to focus on a little bit is TikTok. Okay, just because it allows you the tools to really edit and put together some really fantastic stories and narratives. Another exciting thing about TikTok is that the platform, gosh, when it started, it feels like it's been years that it's been out. When it first started, it was all about music and dancing, and it still is about fun and creativity and something very different and unique. But it's evolved. And when I say evolved, any piece of content that you want to put up there, whether it's fun, dancing, unusual, or traditional storytelling or reporting, it's all applicable. So anything goes. Do not be scared to post something up there or that you're not doing it right. Here are 3 totally different examples. So I'll pause it there. One morning I woke up, looked at Twitter. I realized that it was Star Trek Day. And I said, okay, what can I easily produce at work? So I asked around if anybody was a true fan of Star Trek. one of our tellers at the Northeast branch said he's a fan. And I said, can you do that greeting with your, I guess the Spock greeting? Because I can't do it, you guys. Can anybody do it? Can I see you on camera do it? Yeah, I can't do it. He said he could do that. And I said, let me go tape you. And that's what we taped. And it was trending. It did extremely well on all of our platforms. Very spontaneous. It only took about maybe, I want to say 20 minutes to put together. Now, the middle one is a story. We give out scholarships every year. And here's one of our scholarship recipients.
My name is Brandon Sola. I just graduated high school and I'm heading off to Harvard University. I hope to be working in the lab to continue my antibody resistance research that I built up during my high school experience. In order to eventually fulfill my bachelor's in science and cellular and molecular biology. As for my career goals, I would like to, eventually become a physician scientist and eventually be able to help people get rid of disease or diseases that we right now don't have a cure or other treatment for. Yeah, so the first scholarship has given me the opportunity to actually head off to Harvard University. So I went to valedictorian at the Kansas Yearly College Academy. Throughout my years there, I have built a large repertoire with my friends and with my family. Both my parents were immigrants from Ciudad Juárez, Mexico, and I understand from first-hand perspective what it means to have hard work and grit. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've ever done for me and everything that you continue to do for me.
I'm sorry you can't, get the full emotion on it because there's a music bed underneath it, and Brian's story is just very, very powerful. The last video on this screen is just something that's quirky and fun. We have our signature golf tournament, and this is a video that we did helping to promote it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So anything goes, truly. You saw 3 different pieces of content. There are a couple of organizations that I really love locally that are producing some fantastic content. I'm not sure if they're on here, and if you know them, please give them props. The El Paso Public Library does a phenomenal job on TikTok. I personally loved what they do. If you get a chance to look at the content that they're putting out, it's fantastic. Western Tech here in El Paso as well does a phenomenal job on their social platforms. I really think they've nailed it and they get it. Next slide. All right, so who doesn't love a quinceañera, right? So I really do mean I tell stories about people. And this story is a little longer. I want to say it's like 1:15. I kind of cringe a little bit because you're not going to get the full effect of the story, but we're going to go ahead and let it play.
It's all about the dress. And for 14-year-old Hazel Acosta Rodriguez, she is ready for her upcoming quince.
It's a big thing for our Mexican family, like my mom had one. And I'm kind of like the other girl cousin, pretty excited for it.
Hazel and her parents are planning for the big day, carefully looking at their budget.
We started planning, I guess, about 1.5 years ago.
They're also getting some help from First Life Federal Credit Union's Wedding and Quince Planner Guide and possible personal loan options.
What the planner is supposed to help you do is to kind of get a little bit more of a structure on the budget that you have. The First Life Budget Planner, it allowed me just to spread my money intelligently. And I just want to say thank you to them because they're allowing me to have this wonderful experience.
So our Pride video was #1 so far this year. Guess what was a close #2? This one, the quinceañera video. It hits home. People relate with it. People relate with this young lady and the traditional events of quinceañera. So it's about, relating to the people that you helped, relating to your community and telling their story through their eyes. This particular story, though, I did add a element of First Light. We had our financial planner on there, just talking about how that quinceañera and wedding planner can help them organize their finances. So I'm very selective when I decide how to put First Light into a narrative. If we have time, do we have time to show this one?
Yeah, so we have up until 1:30 and we're nearing the end of our presentation. So we have just a couple more minutes, half hour.
Okay, so this is, I believe this is a partnership that we did with Fort Bliss. Let's play it. I think that's what it is.
We have our annual relocation fair. It's the Bienvenidos Relocation Fair, and it's a time for us to introduce the new soldiers and families of Fort Bliss to everything that is available for them, both on Fort Bliss and within the community.
So this is important, right? Because as a military community, we're always moving around. We're always going to different places. We go where the Army tells us to go. But when we get there, we create routes everywhere you go. And this is a great way to help all of our newcomers.
So we are more than a financial institution, and one of the main things that we like to focus on is financial education. So if you're at First Light, we're here to help you out. We're here to give you that financial guidance, that financial education.
What we managed to do is really connect El Paso and Fort Bliss, our families, our soldiers, our retirees, and our community outside of Fort Bliss to really communicate, be together, and just really join as one city.
How many of our organizations, how many of us have attended these I call them community booths? How many of us have gone out there for some sort of a event like this? Probably most of us, probably all of us have gone to some sort of event like this. The reason I wanted to show you this video is because I made it look like it was a First Light event. I made it look like it was First Light and Fort Bliss putting all this together. Now that's wonderful, and we like to think that we really do have a very significant impact. But I also know that there were other organizations involved, and your independent organizations, your respective organizations, could have done the exact same thing. So next time you attend some sort of community event and you have a table or you have a booth, you can very easily produce something like this. You can interview one of the organizers and ask them what is so important about this particular event. And then you can also ask the organizer how your respective organization fits into this. So now you're getting the organizer of the event talking about you. And then if you can, you grab a couple of participants that are there, or maybe even somebody from your respective organization.
So on the next slide, if that's okay, Cindy, I went ahead and included just some videos that our nonprofit organizations have curated and created in the past, I should say. And they really tie to El Paso Giving Day in the ways that you can incorporate all of the elements and strategies that Sydney has shared into your Giving Day campaign. So I'll just play one or two just so everyone can see what you all are potentially capable of.
Hello, my name is Olivia Fernandez, and I am the field program manager here at the College Research. A typical day here at the pantry really depends on the number of volunteers we have. So if you have enough volunteers, I'll be in charge of clients, checking on their physical activity and dietary choices. And if we do not have enough volunteers and I'm outside actually doing it, I love helping people. Very passionate about and very happy.
So I'll just add, I think this really is a great example of showcasing your staff, showcasing your employees, showcasing your volunteers, and really, connecting them with your donors and helping them to understand what your organization is doing on a daily basis. And also, of course, incentivizing them and encouraging them to give. I'll just show one more, if that's okay, from NAMI El Paso. I think this is a really great way, like I mentioned, to engage a volunteer and have them speak on your brand or have them speak on your organization. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you.
I'm Carlos, a NAMI El Paso volunteer. Join me in donating early today and tomorrow. El Paso Giving Day is this Thursday, October 21st until 11:59 p.m. NAMI El Paso provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that all individuals and families affected by mental health conditions can build a better life. We do this through various education programs such as our classes, presentations, our support groups, and various awareness events like NAMI Walks Out. Come on, let me show you how easy donating is. First, go to our page on the El Paso Giving Day. From here, scroll down the page and select your donation. The minimum amount of a donation is $10. Feel free to give whatever you can. Next, fill your name, address, and select the terms and conditions before giving the donation button. You're going to be routed to a secure page where you can safely enter your card info. You're ready to submit your donation. Now that you made the Giving Day donation, you share that page with friends and family together. We are making a difference in your baby. Thank you, everyone. NAMI El Paso thanks you for the bottom of our.
Did I freeze for a little bit?
A little bit, yes.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to share just some very basic examples, just to inspire everyone. And as Sydney mentioned, he's always happy to help and answer any questions that you might have about your storytelling strategy as we near El Paso Giving Day.
It's really, if I can leave you with another takeaway, right? The focus of all this, focus on people, right? Make an emotional connection and celebrate your communities, celebrate your staff. That's all you need. That is all you need to produce a solid story and to be on the path for humanizing your brand. Is anybody working on any projects or things that you're trying to communicate to the general public internally, externally? Anything that they want to talk about, walk through, maybe we can help collectively as a group. And any questions as well.
And do you have any strategies for maybe approaching people who you think would be very good to maybe appear in a video, but maybe there's some reluctance on their part?
Yes, thank you. Very good question, because that happens to me on a daily basis. You'll find that most people are very reluctant to be on camera and to say something. Once they understand the importance that their words are really having an impact, then that changes a little bit. One of the things that I can share with you is to help them ease their discomfort is share the questions with them beforehand. Let them know that if they fumble during the interview, if they misspeak during the interview, they can always retape it. You can retape it as many times as you like so that they are comfortable. And what I always do, and I do this with every single one of my stories, if you can believe this or not, every single one, I show it to the person that I interviewed before I show it to anybody else. And once I get that person's blessing, then I put it out.
Okay.
Great question. Yeah, absolutely. But seriously, it happens to me every single day. They always say, Sydney, what are you going to ask me? Sydney, what should I wear? Sydney, how long is it going to be, the video itself? And then I always kind of look at them and say, hey, you know me, the video is going to be 60 seconds or less.
Any other questions or comments?
Any other questions?
I have an event that's coming up in October. It's the Walk for Apraxia, for Childhood Apraxia. And it's something that our organization does every year. We team up with UTEP. They have their student organization. And right now, the only people that are registered are literally us and them. It's not very known what apraxia is. It's basically like just difficulty, a diagnosis of when a child is having difficulty talking, their brain isn't communicating correctly. And even with our members, I've been posting it weekly. I've been using the media that the Walk for Apraxia actually lets you use. And I haven't gotten a lot of, I guess, bites or anybody kind of registering. And registration is technically free. It's more like if you want to donate whatever you want to donate, it's going to be at Marty Robbins Park. It's like super simple, but it's hard because like we don't have any employees. It's just all volunteers. All our board members are volunteers, and we all work full time as speech therapists. So we're having a hard time spreading the word.
So number one, I hear you and I actually feel you. I feel you. So there's two things here, right? You're putting out this content, you're trying to get awareness for people to attend, right? That's one. And the second thing, the day of the event, capture it, get videos, get pictures. If you can put something together, put it together. Because then there's the after fact. You post that content and you still put that link for people who donate. It still has life after the event. You make the ask, you still ask people, donate to our cause, okay? Just because you may not have, a huge turnout does not make it that it's not successful. You still have the online community that you can still continue to advocate for. So you said this is in partnership with UTEP, right?
Yes, it's the National Speech Hearing Association for Students. They're actually the ones that are the main organizers, and then we're assisting, and we're there every year with them. And something that we do, we also do like the Walk for Autism, and that one's it's like own machine, like we just kind of go there and have our table there, but we always support it. And this one is kind of a little bit more close to home because it's something that we treat. So since it's not something that, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Have you made the ask? Have you asked UTEP and said, can you help me? Can you help us get the word out further? Can you put it on any of your social platforms? What is it that you can do to help us? Have you made the ask?
Well, NISHLA, they're the ones that asked us because we have more, I guess, therapists on our social media platform, especially our Instagram. Our Instagram is the one that gets the most people engagement. And even this year I grew it was at 400 followers and it's already like at 525. So we grew like just this year alone from me doing it. And I know therapists are looking at it. People will tell me I'll run into them. They're not that much in engagement. And then we even had a convention where we know like how many of you are members, and like maybe 50 people stood up and all the therapists are like, that's it. And it's like, yeah, you are not involved in our association and you can be. So I think that was an eye opener. I think the COVID really affected us. Not everybody wanted to do things online. And then there's other platforms that are a little bit more accessible than us, because ours would usually just be, it's live, you go on, you can apply, but there's like a whole bunch of websites where if you want continuing education, you can just click on it anytime you want, and it's very convenient. And it's like one flat fee.
UTEP has a lot of different siloed communications. When you're speaking to UTEP, see if they can also introduce you to UTEP's communications and marketing department. Jen, I forgot Jen's last name at UTEP Communications. Oh, you know what? I think I may have a card. Hold on.
You tip
No, I don't.
communication.
Yeah, when you're speaking to UTEP, see if you can get in touch also with the communications department, find out what you all can do together. Also, the value of doing lives. You're awesome right now as I'm listening to you. Do an Instagram live. Do it every day leading up to the event. Tell
Okay.
people, what you're talking about. Are you also on Facebook?
Yes, we
So
have
what
Facebook
are-
and we have Twitter. I don't have TikTok. I didn't want to get addicted to it. And then since I'm the only one really running social media, it's a lot. I do like doing reels. But I know there's like an algorithm. If the little Twitter thing is on there, you have to fix that or remove it. For Instagram, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, for TikTok really fast, at least just secure the handle for your
Okay.
organization. At least don't let somebody else take it from you, because then you'll have to buy it from them or come up with some sort of really weird name. So just at least get the handle.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can you don't have to post on there. I mean, you can hide it, but just get the handle. Okay. But utilize your live features, especially on Instagram. And you know what you can do on Instagram? Interview somebody that's going. Interview an expert. Okay, you get on your handle, on the organization's handle, then invite an expert, somebody that, it could be from your organization. They're going to be on their personal handle or on somebody else's handle, and you interview them live, and you ask them why this is so important, and you ask them why people should attend, and make sure you put links on there, and make sure you use a link in bio so that people can get more information.
Okay.
Okay, and reach out to me because I want to hear how this goes.
Okay. And you have it's your First Light, and then you have your own personal I guess handle.
So I have my own personal handle. I'm embarrassed to tell you this. So I deleted my personal handle from New York. I had like 48,000 followers. And I deleted that because it was my New York stuff. And I was like, well, I moved back to El Paso. So you can find me at Television Sid.
And we'll go ahead and share the presentation, of course, and all of the contact info. We are recording today's session, so we'll go ahead and make it available. And as Cindy mentioned, stay in touch with him. I'm sure he would love to learn more and answer more questions. Just for purposes of time, I'm going to make a few quick announcements as we think about El Paso Giving Day. Believe it or not, is just almost a month away. So I just wanted to add, we do have other resources available in case you all are interested in taking advantage. I just want to remind everyone, we have templates, toolkits, logos, and our brand guidelines on our resources tab of the El Paso Giving Day website. In years past, we've also hosted other really great presentations on preparing communications guidelines and timelines, and how to build a better website. So if those are of interest for you, I encourage you to visit our page. You can find the videos and recordings on YouTube from prior year. Very quickly, I just wanted to add, we have a really robust calendar of events that are upcoming. I really hope to see everyone at our Chico Relic pop-up event on September 20th. That's next Tuesday. It's a really great opportunity for you to drop by and build content for your organization. We'll have a photo op opportunity. And if you take a photo and enter your name into the raffle, you'll have a chance to win a $250 prize. I also want to add our fourth and final workshop will be taking place October 6th on Gearing Up for Giving Day, the ultimate checklist to prepare for your Giving Day campaign. We also have our early Giving Day kickoff event and Givers and Pitch competition on October 13th. Early Giving begins October 13th through the 19th, and El Paso Giving Day, of course, is October 20th. We also will be sharing more information on our El Paso Giving Day after party to really just bring everyone together and celebrate the success of this year's. So mark your calendars, and you can go ahead and add these automatically to your Outlook or your Gmail, whatever you use, by visiting our calendars tab on the El Paso Giving Day website. There is an add-on option. That really completes all of my announcements, and I just want to give Sydney a big thank you for his participation and willingness to present with us today. I hope everyone went home with something. That really completes my part. Sydney, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
I have one request. Can we all take a picture? Change the screen. Let's all get everybody up there. Let's take a picture. Open up your cameras. Open up your cameras. Get glamorous. Put that spotlight on you. There you go. There you go. All right. All right. So I see some colleagues that are down there on, and I think they're driving because we're getting ready to go to another event. So they probably won't turn on their cameras. But are we ready? Who's going to take the picture? Who's going to screenshot it?
So I'll try taking one on my phone. I don't know if I'm tech savvy enough to take a screenshot using my keyboard.
So I'm going to screenshot it here. I'm ready to screenshot it. You guys ready? I want to see big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay! I got it.
All right.
Everybody looks great. I'll post it on the First Light social pages later today. You all look fantastic. And please do not hesitate to reach out to us at First Light. If you have any questions about storytelling, we're more than happy to try to assist our community organizations.
Thank you, Sydney, again. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm going to stop the recording and just say goodbye. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.